this is great. I hope everybody got little bit of insight into who is Dustin.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
All right, folks, welcome to the program. This is the Appraiser Coach program. My name is Dustin Harris. We are sponsored today by a couple of great companies, of course, Alamode. Alamode is the sponsor of this program from the very beginning, and we are coming up on our 1000th episode, believe it or not. But thank you. Big shout out to Alamode, alamode.com or 800 Alamode. And of course, Working RE magazine. Working RE is where I go to get a lot of the information that we talk about on this program. You should be as well. If you were an appraiser, you should be interested in what they have to say. WorkingRE.com. Again, it's WorkingRE.com. I want to bring in I want to call him the guest, but I might introduce him as the host, Mr. Mark Buhler out of Dana Point Harbor, California. He teaches solar for appraiser e-learning, some green energy stuff for Franklin Energy. He is a long-term member of the All-Star team and been on the program a couple of different times. The first time, episode number 20, Mark. That was a while ago. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Thank you for this unique little opportunity.
We're calling it unique. I should probably just tell the listeners what we're going to do today. We're going to kind of switch the tables. And this was, I want to make it clear, this was Mark's idea. And I reluctantly agreed. I actually think it's a pretty good idea, but it's going to be weird. So today, Mark wants to ask the questions. Maybe we should start there. Why did you suggest this, Mark?
Well, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you were talking about some of the things that you're doing with your son and your family. And I just thought, people don't really know that much about you. You know, you're always out there giving us a lot of good, useful information and helpful stuff, and always very encouraging, which I'm thankful for. But like, nobody really knows about you. And when you did that appraiser stories way back when, you had this line of questioning, you know, that was kind of like digging in, like Oprah Winfrey, you know, like, yeah, what do you like to do? What's your favorite kind of appraisal? And I'm thinking, nobody knows this guy. He's done 1,000 podcasts, and nobody really knows that much about him. Like, were you aware that he lives in a town in Idaho? You know, or do you think he was some big city slicker?
Well, this will be fun. I'm thankful for the opportunity. Thank you for doing it. So today you're going to be the host, my friend, and I'll just let you take it away. Let's do it.
Okay, thank you. So my intent here is to ask some questions so that we can all get a little bit better understanding about who is Dustin, what makes him work, and you know, some of these questions go a little deeper into, you know, how do you think, and
I'm a little bit scared of what you're going to ask, but let's do it.
Let's start out with the easy ones. How old are you?
I will be 50 years old this year. I was born in 1974.
Wow,
so
good for you.
50 today, or this coming fall.
Great, good deal. And so, what is your effective age?
That's a good question. We would first have to calculate the remaining economic life. And I'm not real sure what that's going to be, but you know, I've always thought I would like to die on my 100th birthday. I think that would be cool. We'll see.
Highly possible these days. Okay, where do you live?
I live in, as you mentioned, Idaho. Grew up and mostly lived here my whole life. I actually lived in your neck of the woods for a few years, Mark, years ago. I've been in Utah a little bit, but I was born in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Grew up in Southeast Idaho. No, it's not Boise. I'm always asked, so you live near Boise? No, I don't. I live on the better part of the state. Sorry, Boise. We live up near Yellowstone National Park in a little town called Rigby, Idaho.
Yes, I know it. Okay, so if you could live anywhere else, where would that be?
That is a good question. Honestly, and this is really the honest truth, I think like any kid, I couldn't wait to get away. And once I experienced the world a little bit, no offense, Mark, Southern California was not my gig. Coming back was more and more appealing, and I've been all over the world, and I love Southeast Idaho. Now, I will say this: if I had my choice and my wife had no say in it, I would probably live in Idaho 9 months out of the year. And then in the wintertime, I would love to go to someplace tropical, third world country, and kind of live out to maybe a different country every year, but probably right after Christmas and come back first part of April.
All right. I like that. While we're on that topic, your wife, tell me about your family.
Yeah, good question. I am married. Obviously, almost 30 years. We were married December of 1995. We have 4 children. My oldest daughter, my only daughter, my oldest child is a daughter. She just graduated from Michigan State. Go Green. She's now living in Houston. She loves the heat and humidity. And I've got my oldest son is married, and he lives here in Rigby with me. Not with me, but in the same town as me. And he's been married about 3 years. We are expecting our first grandbaby this November. So I'll turn 50 and become a grandpa this year.
Wow,
We're
that's
excited
great.
about that. Yeah. My 19-year-old son is living up in Glacier, Montana, running our goat farm. And I've still got one at home. We've got a 16-year-old boy that still hanging out with his parents, and he'll probably be flying the nest here in a year or so.
Awesome. That's great. Sounds like you're doing well. First grandchild.
Yes,
Congratulations.
yeah, we're excited.
Did you go to college?
I did. When I grew up, it was not like it is today, where college. Honestly, I grew up in a home where college wasn't an option. My mother had both her bachelor's and her master's degree. My father had his bachelor's degree. It was just kind of expected that we go to college. It was never really a decision to me. For me, I just went. My bachelor's degree, I started out in Utah. We were living in Logan, Utah at the time, so Utah State, go Aggies. And about 2 years later, I transferred to Idaho State, go Bengals. I got my bachelor's degree at Idaho State, and then I later got my master's degree through the University of Idaho out of Moscow, though I've never been to Moscow. It was an extension center in Idaho Falls. By the way, both of my degrees are in teaching.
All right. Sticking in the close proximity there. Logan, Utah to, I believe that's Pocatello, Idaho.
Pocatello, yeah, is Idaho
Yes.
State. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. I went to University of Utah for a little bit in
Right
Salt
on.
Lake City. So go Utes.
Yeah, there you go.
So what was your first job?
My first job, it was when I was, first official job, I guess, was lawn mowing when I was a kid. I did a lot of that. I drove a little Honda Trail 90 when I was a kid, and my dad made a trailer behind that I could put my push mower on. So I drove around Blackfoot, Idaho is where I grew up, actually, and I drove around on my Honda Trail 90 and mowed lawns. But my first W-2 job was actually flipping burgers at McDonald's, believe it or not.
That's great. Well, you paid your taxes, so good.
I did.
I like the lawn mowing job, though. That's all
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah.
What is the most important decision that you have ever made so far?
I mean, without a doubt, what comes to my mind is marrying my wife. And I know that sounds cliche and cheesy and all of that, but my wife Cammie is my sparkle. She's my joy. She is my true north, if you will. I account many of the good things that have happened in my life to that one decision.
As I always say, behind every good driven man is a good woman with a credit card.
She's always been supportive of my decisions. I shouldn't say always. We've had our back and forth on some things, but she's learned to trust me as an entrepreneur, and to stand back and give her opinion, but say, hey, you go forward. You've been successful. So, been a failure on many accounts as well, but she's there to keep me on the straight and narrow. Let's put it that way.
That leads me to my next question. What is the biggest risk you have ever taken?
Wow. So I'm going to answer that 2 ways. So biggest risk, I think, is the goat farm that we're currently doing. There's a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of work put into this, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, into this crazy idea up in Glacier, Montana, to open up a petting farm. So that's probably the biggest risk, and that the jury is still out on. But the question you didn't ask that I'm going to answer anyway is, what is the biggest business failure that I've ever had? About 10 years ago, I started up a company that would mail out, believe it or not, CDs of audiobooks. Now, most people are going to laugh at that and think, why would you do that? Because streaming was not really a thing when I started that company, but it became a thing within about the first year of me being open for business. I lost a great deal of money and a great deal of time on that business venture, but hey, I learned a lot as well.
What do they say? You miss 100% of the balls you do not swing at.
There you go.
100% of the shots that you don't take.
There you go.
So good. Yeah, we're all gonna get out there and take some risks. Okay. Speaking of, if you weren't aware, Dustin's now embarking on a goat farm, petting zoo with more than goats, but that's interesting. So at your home, do you have pets?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, at the farm, we've got what, 30 goats, 3 alpacas, 2 mini Highland cows, and 7 chickens. Oh, and a couple of dogs. But again, that's in Montana. I live in Idaho. And yes, I do. I have 2 pets at home. One, I don't know that I would call a pet. Washington is our cat, and he's our mouser. We live on a little acreage, and without Washington, who is, by the way, 14 years old, still a great mouser. We would probably have mice all the time in our house. So is that a pet or a working? I don't know. But I do have a dog, a golden doodle. His name is Copper.
Now, if those pets of yours could talk, what would they say about Dustin?
Ooh. I'm going to focus on Copper because here's the funny thing about Copper. I don't like him. Now, that's not true. I love him, but I don't. He's such a pain to deal with, right? Just, he's very persnickety. He's not a dog in the sense that, I mean, he's a GMO dog is what I call him. I don't really, if I could find a good home for him and the family would not cry for weeks, I would probably do so. But here's the funny thing, Mark. He thinks that I'm the best thing in the world. He thinks that I love him more than he would rather hang out with Dustin than anybody else in the family. I don't know why, because I don't really like him. So I guess he would say, he loves me to death, and I'm glad for it, but he just doesn't know the real truth.
Is he in the room with you listening to
No,
this?
he's not. I won't say that in front of him.
Okay, good. They're smart. So, okay, what's your favorite food?
I love a good steak. I love shrimp. I hesitated because I love shrimp, but my go-to food is a good steak. I grew up on steak and potatoes, being an Idaho boy. And when I travel, I try to find a good steakhouse. My favorite is New York strip, and I love it medium rare.
Good. What's your favorite movie? Do you have one?
I do. Yeah, I do. It's a little bit weird. So it probably needs to come with some explanation, though brief. 12 Angry Men is my favorite movie, and many people have not seen that. It's a classic. There's 2 versions, by the way, and I love the older version more than I love the modern version. But it is a movie that takes place mostly in a jury room, and I love the transformation of going from one decision to another and just hearing the talking into the manipulation, the lying, the sales approach that basically happens amongst human beings. It is a fascinating show, and I try to watch it once a year.
Okay. Do you have a favorite color? I'm guessing.
Yeah, you guess, Mark, because I guarantee you're going to guess wrong.
Well, y'all's got that blue shirt on.
My favorite color, and this is not, I'm not pulling your leg here. You ask my wife, you ask anybody that knows me closely, my favorite color is pink. I love pink.
Okay. And why would that be?
I don't know. I just love the color. I think it's awesome.
Well,
now, I don't wear pink normally, at least not on the show, but I do love pink.
Okay. Do you have a favorite smell?
Dirt, believe it or not.
Really?
I love the smell of dirt. I really do. I love just raw dirt. It just grounds me.
Be a good land appraiser.
I guess so. Yeah. You just go out there and smell the dirt and give it an
sniff it out.
They smell, right?
Okay. What kind of music do you like?
That is a question that you're going to think I'm lying to you, but I'm going to tell you the honest truth. It's probably easier to say what music do I not like. I love all kinds of music. I will listen to almost any genre out there. There's one that I don't like, and that is the screaming, yelling, heavy metal, what they call rock. But I love classic rock, right? I love show tunes. I love opera. I love jazz. I love blues. I love you name it. I mean, my favorite probably is country. That's probably what I listen to. And I'm not talking about the modern stuff, right? That to me is not country. I'm talking about Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and
George Strait.
you bet. Yeah, the old Western country. That probably is what I listen to more than anything.
Nice.
Before you ask another question, Mark, let's pause for just a second. I would love to just do a quick shout out to our sponsors. Of course, Working RE magazine is one of them. Working RE, of course, is the magazine that I go to, both the print version and the digital version. Folks will keep you up to date on what appraisers need to know, right? Lately, it's been the NAR settlement. They've been all over the NAR settlement. I've had Isaac Peck on the program to talk about it. But folks, if you want to know what is moving and shaking in the appraisal world, you need to subscribe to and read workingre.com. Again, it's workingre.com. A la Mode, of course, is the software that I've got on the screen right here. I was working on a final just before Mark and I went on. It is the software that I use every day to do what I do as an appraiser. It is the one with the most tools and the most efficiencies built right in. Folks, we talk about technology and using technology as a help to your appraisal business. And if you are with any other software, I implore you, pick up the phone, call A la Mode and talk to them about what they can do for you. 800 A la Mode or alamode.com. All right, folks, we are back. I'm the appraiser coach, but today I'm the guest. So, Mark, we're
all right.
Questions.
All right, folks, we're back. We're here. I'm here talking with Dustin Harris today, and I'd like to throw a little plug out there for OREP Insurance and A la Mode. They are thebombomb.com. So, back to Dustin. When you first get up in the morning, what do you do? What's your daily routine like?
You know what's funny, Mark? I just did a podcast this morning, a mini-sode. I don't know if it'll come out before or after this is done, but I talked about the fact that I do not most of the time pick up my phone and read it. Most people, that's the first thing that they do. I, for many years, have been doing what I call the prime time that I go into detail on in my Go Create Some Value workshop, but it is a process that I go through that takes anywhere from 2 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how much time I have, but it is a way to ground myself and get myself ready for the day, other than dealing with all the problems that are going to be found on that device when I pick it up.
I love it. If you were not an appraiser or a goat farmer, what would your dream job be?
You know, that's a hard one, Mark. And here's why. And I think any entrepreneur will say the same thing, right? It's the next thing that excites me. I ask my wife, I go down these rabbit holes of being excited about something. And I would best be somebody who can start or take over a failing business and make it work and be successful, sell it and turn around and do it with something completely different. So I don't know that I can answer the question directly. What would I do? Right now, what excites me is the farming thing. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of hard work, but I've learned a lot, and I crave being up there. It's about 8 hours away from me, so I don't get up there as often as I would like, but it's my new happy place, being up there on the farm. Love it.
That's great. It's beautiful up there too. That's God's country.
It is.
Okay, if you could have lunch with anyone, dead or alive, who would that be and why?
The first person that comes to mind is an individual by the name of Napoleon Hill. He's no longer alive. He wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And it wouldn't be so much about what Napoleon Hill brings to the table as much as his knowledge base. If anyone knows his story, he was hired by a very rich individual to basically interview all of his successful friends and find some commonalities as to what made them successful. And so a lot of the principles that I teach as the appraiser coach come from Napoleon Hill's research and interviews and getting to know people that are successful. So if I could have lunch with one person, it would probably be Napoleon Hill.
Sounds like a good one. What is the best advice you have ever received? And what is the worst?
Oh boy, let's start with the worst. The worst advice you know what, these are going to be related. The worst advice I ever received is never, when I was getting married, never go to bed angry. That's a bad advice, right? Here's the problem. There are times that my wife and I have stayed up till 3, 4 in the morning because we were just convinced that we had to get along before we went to bed, right? And the later it got, the more early hours of the morning it became, the worse things got because we were just tired and just not seeing things eye to eye. So I think that's the worst advice any married couple can get. It's okay to go to bed angry. Just get up the next morning when you're fresh and relaxed and figure it out. The best advice I ever got was actually similar. I was in the wedding line, and one of my friend's fathers kind of pulled me out of line as he was going through the reception line. He says, you know, you're going to get all kinds of advice today on how to make this work and what to do in marriage. And he says, take it from me. They don't know a damn thing. You do whatever the hell you want. You're married now. I loved it. Good advice.
I like that. Well, every morning we have new mercies. So,
Yes, very true.
okay. I don't know. I was going to cut this one out, but I guess we all have fear. What are you afraid of?
A lot of things, actually. You know, I want to be out there as a coach and a mentor and say, you know, that we're fearless and that we should face our fears and overcome. But the honest truth is, Mark, I'm a worrier. In fact, we were just talking about this last weekend. We were sitting around the fire with my adult children, and they were kind of laughing at Dad and saying, you know, Dad worries more than Mom does. When we're out on our adventures, dirt biking or hunting or hiking or what have you, it's Dad that's checking in on us constantly, you know, and making sure we're safe. But it's not just with my kids. It's with business. You know, I'm constantly worried about this, that, and the other. Will we get anybody showing up to the goat farm? Will I get the next appraisal assignment? Will fees drop into the dirt and I won't be able to pay my mortgage? I worry about what everybody else worries about, but I just fear the unknown. I've learned some strategies to overcome that, but I'm not susceptible to that.
Well, you've done well so far. Just remember this: fear is a liar.
Yes, it is. We what is it that Abraham Lincoln said that I fear about a lot of, or maybe it was Mark Twain. I fear a lot of things in my life, and some of them actually came true.
You get worried and speculate about things, and even a broken clock is right twice or whatever. So enough of those colloquialisms. What is your definition of success?
This is easy. I think about this a lot. So my definition of success is to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, where I want, because I want. And it really comes down to what motivates me. The biggest thing that motivates me is freedom. It's liberty. It's being able to, and this applies to all parts of life, right? So with whom I want to have good relationships with people, right? To do what I want, I need good health. To do it where I want, I've got to have the freedom to be able to disconnect from my job and go wherever I want to go and be location independent. In other words, I am motivated by being able to do the things that I want to do on a day-to-day basis, which motivates me in a variety of different areas of life as well.
And that's part of my next question is what motivates you?
Yeah, it really comes down to one word, and it really it's two words, but they're synonyms, right? It's either freedom or liberty, right? I am motivated by freedom. I am motivated by liberty to be able to do the things that I want to do in life.
And in the coaching and trainings and stuff, there's a lot, that theme is a recurrent theme.
For sure. Yeah, I'm not a box dweller. I'm not one that is going to confine to the system. I'm very much an individual that's going to look for ways to think outside the box and be different than the typical.
And this is the last one, so you're almost off the hook here. What do you think people will say about you when you are gone?
Boy, probably not much, Mark. I don't know that I'm going to have much of an impact in this world. Those that know me, which are very few people, I would say they probably would say he made a lot of mistakes. Some of them hurt people, but he was a good man at heart. He lived the best life that he knew how.
Oh, I disagree. I think a lot of people will remember you, and you've done a lot of good for a lot of people. I personally know people that have benefited and their lives have changed as a result of what you've imparted on them, and they've executed what you said, including myself.
You're very kind. Thank you. Mark Buhler, you are the man, a good friend of mine for many, many years, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, this is great. I hope everybody got a little bit of insight into who is Dustin.
Thank you, Mark, and let's do it again.
All right. I'm here for you. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.